Okay, welcome back to part 6, I think. I'm not really sure. It's one of them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and install this light bracket thingamajig, and if you remember, they're the really long screws. Oop, where'd it go? And so I'm gonna install that real quick. Kind of important that we get that in first. And there's the other one, okay. This is going to hold the rod that we need. So this is actually, we're entering the part where, I forgot to clean a couple areas, where it's going to get tricky for you now, okay? This is probably the hardest part of the whole entire mod, is putting it all back together without it malfunctioning. That is the tricky part, because we got to get everything to fit, and we don't want to smash any wires, and unfortunately that's going to happen. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put the face together first. So go ahead and add your, wow, that's dirty too. I thought I got that. My bad. Just give that a quick clean. Okay. Alright. Double check the B, make sure it's okay. Alright, that's fine. That's how you can tell where things go. Look at the grooves. So this one is going to go, looks like right there. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to use black X and Y because I like using cool stuff like that. I like to mix it up. If I've got the parts. If you don't have the parts, don't worry about it. You know, it's no big deal. Just want to use what we have. Go for it, man. Alright, let's put all that stuff in. We're going to wait on the shoulder buttons. We're not ready for those yet. Put those little dealio thingies in. Put the membranes on. Okay, well, that's good. So now the fun part, the really fun part. We are going to set the screen right on top of that faceplate, I guess. So do that now. Just make sure your screen's in. And don't put it in all the way. I mean, like, make sure it's guided in. And just kind of carefully. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I thought I was in camera view, but it wasn't. So see how I have it? It's kind of, you know, just kind of sitting there. We want it to do it that way. Because we don't want it to malfunction with the shoulder button. So I kind of want it to lay as flat as possible. And it's not quite flat. So I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Hold it down and see if I can get it to fit in correctly. You're going to have some weight right here, which means you're going to have a little bit of space because of the wires. What's most important though, make sure that your button pads are working. So, and also be mindful of your speaker wire. We don't want that to get kinked, so I like to pull it through and kind of have it come through this end here. So make sure that's not kinked. And you're going to have to finesse this part over here because it's just, like I said, I've got it coiled, so I'm not how well sure this is going to work, but I'm just going to finesse it enough to where I feel like it's fitting good and just drop it down. Ideally, you want this thing to be covered up. Okay, and I'm not there yet, so. So what I'm going to do is pull a little bit from it. And we're going to bend the light gently. Go slow with this process, guys. There we go. Okay, so now I'm pretty as flat as I can go. I've got this covered. I'm going to put a screw in here and a screw in here. I'm going to test my buttons and see if it's working okay. Don't do it too tight. Just do it tight enough to where it grabs and you can test and see how things are looking on your end on the front. We're going to see if the unit turns on, because sometimes errors can occur during this process. Okay, now that I have my screen attached and the board attached, there's going to be a little bit of a raise here. That's okay, as long as it's flattened as much as possible. So this is what I have so far. Okay, and we're going to do a test to make sure it still pops on, because sometimes it, it can goof up and I might have it pinched too much or something. Okay. So we're gold. We've got it. We've got it done. We got that part done. Now let's work with the speaker. Okay, so to get the speaker to work, guys, we gotta go. We're gonna put this aside because we're done for now with this. I'm gonna set it over here. Okay, now I'm gonna bring the base back. So to get this working really well, we've got to remove this. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm really shaky. Oh my God, too much coffee and nothing to eat yet. I gotta do that. I gotta eat soon. Probably the next closing up part, I will grab some breakfast. I wanted to get this tutorial started and kind of do a run through to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Like, nope. I X'd that out, so okay. So I got that off. Now, if you remember correctly, it's gonna fit right in here, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff in here that we need to remove. It's just not gonna work. So, okay, we're gonna get to snipping. So I'm gonna snip this piece. We're gonna snip this piece. We don't need it, so get rid of it. Get as flat as possible. I'm gonna kind of make a mess, sorry. Start with a nice clean workstation, and then by the time you're done, you're gonna have plastic pieces everywhere. Stuff sometimes flies across the room, so. All right. I don't know if we need this piece here. I'm trying to remember. We can take this out. The idea is to get as much room as you can. It's not pretty, but it's functional. And I don't remember if I need to leave that in or not. Sure. Okay. Where are we at? 9 minutes? Okay, so if you remember right, it's going to fit kind of near, this is the ideal spot right here. And you want to make sure that your wires are not going to short out anything. So you really be careful with this guy right here. This little, I'm not sure what it is. It's a capacitor of some sort. Maybe a resistor. I'm not sure. I'm not an electrical genius or anything, but it doesn't like the magnet very much. So be really mindful with that. And be really careful with your positive wire. So mine just popped out, and that's not good. We don't want that, because when we start putting the case on, we don't want that to get smashed, and it's already in a bad spot. So I'm going to push it back down gently, so I don't risk you know, getting that in the way. Okay, there we go. And might have to lift up just a little bit and get it to get out of the way there. Okay. So keep a note where this thing sticks out is going to be, it's going to be somewhere in here, I think. So I'm going to go in and just see. This is how you can test to see if this is going to work, guys. So you want to make sure, and it's going to be a little more puffier over on the right side because of the mod. It looks like it went in okay. It looks like it will go in. You don't want to force it. That's another thing you don't want to do. You don't want to force it. If you force it, you're in trouble. So just I'm going to press down just gently on that. Okay. Looks like it'll fit right in. So I'm going to go ahead and we're at 11 minutes right now, so I'll probably pause it and move on to part 7 for the rest of the build. Because what we're going to do now, we're going to install the shoulder buttons back on, and we're going to install the back cover, and then we're going to test everything out, make sure we got it all.